wholesale storage assets on a term basis, and for CalISO to be not only the procurement entity, but also the agent for cost recovery. To us, it looks a lot like a TAC 205 style mechanism where CAISO would have an obligation to procure storage services, and it would be a solicitation that would occur sometime in 2019. So our view is that either one, we're going to force the issue at the federal level, and the best case scenario is that FERC applies a lot of pressure, or should put it another way, is to be very directive in terms of what CalISO should do in terms of evaluating leaks or any other project under its team methodology. Or in the alternate, there will be California legislation which would have CalISO being the procurement entity and having to come up with a cost allocation methodology that would have them going out and securing up to 2,000 megawatts of pumped hydro storage, or otherwise large wholesale storage that has 8 hours of discharge. So, as you might agree, it's difficult for battery storage projects to achieve that level of performance. And so anyways, we're basically watching all policy fronts. Our view is this, is that with what's happened federally, with FERC announcing its policy directives back in January of 2017 in terms of how they believe pumped hydro storage is an advanced transmission asset, and are pushing the issue at the federal level, along with how CalISO has been responding with respect to the stakeholder process, or what they call their straw man proposal on storage as a transmission asset. Or thirdly, with this pending legislation, we do think that sometime in 2019 that there is going to be an established cost recovery mechanism for pumped hydro storage, and there's going to be a process at CalISO that can no longer discriminate, or shall I say bias, small regional reliability projects, including batteries, versus what we think are the obvious advantages of wholesale pumped hydro storage. I guess our view is that there's three critical pieces: federal policy, the California market needs, but thirdly, the political persuasion that we're using with respect to Lake Elsinore. I think it's going to be readily evident here in the early part of September when our expert biologist completes his report. He's working in concert with Elsinore Valley. He's working in concert with the Elsinore Valley San Jacinto Watershed Authority, two of the counties, and the California State Water Resources Control Board. And we think that he has been and will be quite persuasive in convincing these bodies that the only way to save Lake Elsinore and to cure it from its impaired water body status, or otherwise called the eutrophic lake status, that this is the project that can do it. And so, that's the third piece. Aside from the policy issues, we're also using the unique attributes of this project that we can save the lake to build support, with the watershed authorities and in Sacramento in the governor's office, both with the governor and the deputy governor. So it's going to be an interesting next couple of months in terms of what happens on the cost recovery piece. Our lawyers would express to any party that we will get a license. It's not a question of if, it's a question of when. We're in the midst of updating some studies, specifically to address a study request letter that FERC issued 50 days ago. All of those studies are being scoped, will be available to the constituents and FERC for their review sometime here in the month of August, and then we can complete those remaining studies in the early part of the fall. We think that we can have our license application accepted, declared complete by FERC sometime before the year end. So that's where we're at procedurally. I have been meeting with the Cal ISO. I met with some of the planning people and the president and CEO last week. I think they are most keenly interested in what's going to happen with this California Assembly legislation, the AB 2787. Not to put words in their mouth, but I'll paraphrase that if this bill is passed, then Cal ISO's hands will be tied. It will have to comply with that legislation, and it will have to design a process and a tariff to be the agent for procuring reliability services or pumped hydro storage specifically under term contracts, and that will make them a procurement entity and the agent for cost recovery. We still place fairly high emphasis on the FERC process. We've met with all of the commissioners, and we believe that FERC is of the view, the majority of the commissioners are of the view that these are assets that should be eligible for cost recovery under an adjudicated TAP 205. But we're awaiting that declaratory order. So I'll stop there and see if you have any questions.
Yeah, no, that's a good summary. If somebody could send us the link to that bill, that might be helpful.
I can send it to you guys right now, so it's top of email.
Yeah, that'd be just helpful. The other, I guess the other, the main thing are the permitting and everything else, and then there's the cost recovery. The CEQA environmental review, is that done yet? I recall that 401 or something like that 401 certificate that was challenging, and I just can't remember what it was.
Yeah, no, it isn't done yet, but California State Water Resources Control Board will be the lead agency for the CEQA 401. By virtue of us having solved the water issue, we think the key environmental matter is water quality. So, by design, we've been working very closely with Elsinore, San Jacinto, the counties, the governor's office, and California State Water Resources Control Board. They've indicated, their council has indicated to our council that they think they can expedite the CEQA 401 because they will, one, rely on FERC's environmental material, and two, rely heavily on Elsinore Valley and the expert evidence and testimony of our biologists. They're already quite aware that this is an environmental benefit, the project. They haven't indicated that they have, any other concerns other than us resolving the water quality issues at Lake Elsinore. So the key instrument will be for them, and they're already aware that we have settled with Elsinore Valley, that Elsinore Valley endorses the project because of what it can do to the lake. We basically, by COD, bring in some 9,000 to 12,000 acre feet of water to raise the lake water levels an estimated 3 to 4 feet. We bring in another 6,000 acre feet to load the upper reservoir, and then we have an ongoing management fee where they are acquiring water on our behalf, both to convey and for us to store it in the lake. We also have the support of the city. So all of these are factoring into California State Water Resources Control Board. One of the things, gentlemen, that I think is a misunderstanding is there is no CPUC required approvals for the project. That FERC, the USFS under the one federal decision, the executive order, and the California State Water Resources Control Board, insofar as they have to provide the CEQA 401 certificate. Those are the three key agencies for approval of the project. We are a hydroelectric facility with two independent primary lines interconnected to the high voltage grid. And by virtue of that project structure, FERC is the provider of the license. they are instructing the USFS on what are their options in terms of participating in the special use permit.